Heidrea for Heroes strives each day to give back to our deserving military veterans by assisting them through challenges and transitions in civilian life. A registered nonprofit organization based in Plymouth, we provide support services to veterans who need a helping hand from throughout southeastern Massachusetts. We offer a range of services including adaptive home renovations, vehicle modifications, specialized mobility equipment, qualified home repairs, and custom veteran and family support. If you or someone you know is a veteran in need of assistance, please contact us to fill out an application. We also offer workforce readiness programs for veterans, including a Success Readiness series, which features seminars and webinars on job seeking and life skills, as well as Incline Corps, a unique monthly fitness program exclusively for veterans. To learn more about Heidrea for Heroes or our programs, to watch a webinar, or to make a donation to support our work, please visit our website at www.heidreaforheroes.org. That's HEIDREA, the number 4, HEROES.org. Our veterans sacrificed a great deal to serve our country. It is our great honor to give back by lending a helping hand.
Well, again, I just want to say good evening and welcome. And my name is Brenda Wornum Moore, and I will be presenting the Personal Brand Essentials for Veterans Communicating for Success workshop. So why don't we go get started and tell a little, if you don't mind, tell a little bit about yourself, and I'll start with me. Again, my name is Brenda Wornum Moore, and I'm a management training consultant. I have not been in the military, but I have learned so much. I've been delivering these classes for the past couple of months. Have learned a lot about that and have gained a great appreciation for those who have been in the service. I've been in business over 12 years, and I help small businesses stay in business. I do small business workshops, I do training and development workshops, and I just love helping to see people succeed. So with that said about me in a nutshell, if you could answer just a couple of questions for me. If you could just tell me your name, a little bit about yourself, what branch of service that you were in, and what did you want to take away from the seminar? So your name, what branch of service you were in, and what is it you want to take away from the seminar?
My name's Elaine, and I just retired 2 years ago, doing 23 years in the Navy. And it was just one of those things that I wanted to always do it. Never did. My brother came home as a Marine, and
Yes.
I said, I got to do it. And
23 years later.
Yes.
Okay.
I work now for the government at a Navy facility, so
Okay.
I'm still like in that realm.
Okay.
I don't know what to expect to take from this course. Anything's helpful for me.
Okay. All right. Well, it's all about branding. We're going to talk a little bit in terms about branding, and I really, in essence, like to be also be educated because it's the civilian way of things, and there's also the military way of doing things. So I'll look for you to educate me and kind of keep me in check, so to speak, when I start to kind of do some comparisons about that. So I guess when you think about in terms of your experiences, I'm sure it's totally different from the civilian way of life. You think about the military life and the civilian way of life. So if you had to explain your military experience, how would you describe it? I guess I'm thinking like, is it very, predefined? Is it strict? I'm just trying to make a comparison.
Well, compared to the civilian
Yes.
world, it's really very different because I really did most of my career as a reservist. So I went back and forth between civilian and military. And being in the military gave me more of a organizational
Good.
type patterns to
Okay.
follow. Being in the civilian world, it's basically, sometimes you can do whatever you want and take your time doing things where, you're on a time schedule sometimes with the military. The military taught me, a lot to have broadened my horizon more or less,
Okay.
to meeting other people and finding out what they do and, as you call it, like networking.
Yeah, absolutely, because
So-
we're going to be talking about networking.
Yeah.
So have you heard the term personal branding before?
Not really.
Okay. Do you feel that you have a brand?
Sure, everybody does.
There we go. That's the right answer. She can end the class now. Everybody has a brand. A lot of time when I teach this, people are like, I don't think I have a brand, but believe it or not, everything you do has a brand to it. The way you communicate, your image, your language, your communication, everything has a brand that goes along with that. So you're definitely in the right place. So what is it we want to cover while we're here? I'm hoping that you will be able to take away, explain what is personal branding. We'll talk a little bit about commercial branding, but it's also personal branding, which is more individualized now. Talk about why branding is important to you, and we've already discussed some of that. You talk about the organizational skills and the time management skills and how you'll be able to transfer those over into your personal branding attributes that you already have. And create a marketing strategy to promote your brand. We'll talk about what we call the 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, product, price, and place. Where is it that your brand needs to be seen? So we'll talk about some things and put those strategies in place. So a little bit of a definition about a brand. It's the identity of a specific product, service, or business. It could be a name, a sign, a symbol, color, combination, or slogan. So when you think about brand on a commercial side, what comes to mind? So for example, I'm thinking about this Coke and this Pepsi, right? 2 different brands, but why do people choose one over the other? Why do you think?
Some because of taste.
Some because of taste. What are some other brands that come to mind?
Crest and
Colgate?
Colgate.
Crest and Colgate. What else? I know they're all there, but we're so bombarded with brands. I have IBM and Mac. You know, you have an IBM computer, you have an Apple computer, and they're 2 totally different platforms. One really don't talk to the other, but people have preferences. I also have this Google and then this Bing in terms of which ones that you want to use. Avis versus Hertz, JetBlue versus Southwest. But it takes time to build up those brands. They build up a reputation. Well, it's pretty much the same thing we talk about personal branding. You're building up a reputation, and everything you kind of do, we live in a fishbowl society nowadays, so we'll talk about your online presence. We'll talk about all those type of things that can impact your brand. So that's pretty much in terms from the commercial side. And these slides are also in your packet, so if you just want to follow along, these slides are also in your packet. So that's the broader picture in terms of the commercialized in terms of brand, but when we bring it down individually, it becomes a little bit more concrete. And it's based on 3 core perceptions. We talk about your personal brand. So we have this guy, there's 3 different people, they're both riding a bike, but each one is doing something different in terms of when we look up at this. So he's different. What would you say is different about him?
Riding a bike.
Riding a bike. He's got a little bit crazy helmet on. It's kind of going backwards, so he's riding a bike. So he's different. Okay. This guy over here is extraordinary. Why would you say he's extraordinary if you can see that clip?
He's probably up in the mountains, right?
This guy over here, no, he's in the water. He's in the water riding his bike. A little bit more extraordinary here. And this guy here, we say is a little more authentic in terms of what he's doing. So they're all riding a bike, but something about their brand, something about how they project that brand. So when you talk about civilian, we talk about in terms of going to work for corporations, that's what they're looking for. How do you separate yourself, we'll talk about that, from everyone else in the pack. And yet when you say you're in the military life, everything, if I can use the word, is cohort, so to speak. Everyone stays in line, everyone kind of works together. Is that a fair description? Yet when you come into the civilian world, we want to see, how are you different from everybody else? How do you not look like everybody else? And that could be a challenge. That could be a challenge in terms of trying to do that. So what do you do that's different? So personal branding, talk a little bit about that. It's a set of actions that you take to distinguish or differentiate yourself from others. They involve your image, your influence, promise, and expectations. So if I could use this example, and if you could help me, when we think about from your military experience, what's the image that's important in the military? So using your experience in the Navy, what was the image was important?
How you presented yourself.
Okay, a little bit more about that when you say how you presented yourself.
Well, how you look, how you dress, how your uniform was, the way you acted.
Yeah. That influenced the way that you acted, the way that you responded to commands, you took care of your things like that. How about promise? What kind of promise was the military making, or was the Navy making when you talk about promise, your branding?
Basically, you promised to do the job that you were expected to do. You have a job to do, and there are people that count on you, so you have to basically, promise that you're going to do your job to help save lives, maybe.
Yeah. So basically, it's really no different from civilian life. You're hired to do a job. You kind of make a promise. What is that? What is your brand is saying when they hire you to do that particular job? Here's what I'm saying as a commitment to you. How about expectations? Promise and expectations kind of go together when you kind of do that. But that's pretty much what your brand is saying. What image you're projecting, what influence do you have, what promise are you making about that brand. So let's go back to something basic as Colgate and Crest. What image is Crest projecting? When they do it, no, well, please jump in. Please jump in. They're all going to help. I mean, when I think about Crest, they talk about, they're all into the teeth whitening. Colgate's also into teeth whitening. What else?
Their packaging.
Absolutely, their packaging. Everyone's got these great, beautiful white smiles that are going on. So image is important to them. Now, influence, what do you think when they're talking about what influence are they projecting? Let's stay with the toothpaste. What do you think about influence? My thought would come out, they want you to have a brighter smile, greater smile. When I think about in terms of what the hell influence of that. And what's some of the promises that they make? By using this whitening, you will... Yeah, right. You'll be attractive. You'll have whiter teeth. But be careful of those operative words. It will enhance. It may enhance. It could enhance. In X amount of days, you may have whiter teeth. So those are the things. So we have expectations of that. So pretty much the same thing when you talk about being in a civilian workforce. When you work for a job, what image, influence, and promise and expectation does your brand say that you're doing? So you say you work where right now?
I work in the Navy.
You work at a Navy facilitation. So I'm sure you're doing all these 4 things here. You think about in terms of how do you dress when you go into work, influence over the workers and stuff you need to get done. The promise that you will come into work, you do what you need to get done, and the expectation that your managers have of you. So it's really not that much far off when you think about it in terms of, but in essence, personal branding is the big buzzwords now. So again, it's about the business of you. So let's talk about this just for a second. How is that different in military life? Is it about the business of you, or is it about the business of?
With me, it's about the business of me being nice to everybody else
Right,
you're working with.
right. So in essence, about the bigger picture, it's about the team, it's about the camaraderie, so to speak. It isn't just about you. It isn't just about, it's about your whole team that goes along. But yeah, here, personal brand, how do you set yourself apart from the pack? And that's what we're kind of talking about here. There's the pack, so we're all in here somewhere, but corporate America, and you're looking for workers, they want to know, how do you set yourself apart? Personal branding sets you apart from the pack. So if you go back to those 4 areas of image, what was it? Influence, and expectations. Very good. See, she's already got a star for the class. She's already there. So your personal brand, it talks about your unique combinations of your experience, your background, including your military experience. I think that's very important as they transition to make sure that part is in there. Your education, all those pieces get wrapped up into your personal branding, but how do you project them? That's the challenge. How do you project that so you're separated from the pack? Think about when the people sending resumes now. Everyone tries to do all kinds of different things to send in their resumes. There was a time it was the resume paper that you sent in, you make sure that it was heavy or light or flat, whatever. Now everything is digital. So that really doesn't make that much difference. So how do you separate yourself differently now when you're doing digital resumes? It's the wording that you put in there. It's how you come across in your communication style. Some people even doing video resumes, things they're doing different to set themselves apart because you want to get their attention. Get their attention. So it's all about how you separate yourself from the pack. So let's go into talking a little bit, and please feel free to check in, stop me at any time.
You're doing a wonderful job.
Just keep on going.
Drink the water if you want.
Thank you.
If you need it.
Thank you. So I want to talk about marketing tactics in terms of what you need to do to build your brand. We talked about image, influence, promise, and expectation, but how do you package that? And this is part of the standard that's been around for some time around marketing. The product, price, place, and promotion. And that pretty much is us, you, me, all rolled into that. But how do we put that out there so that companies will look for us, that separate us so that we stand out from the pack? So let's start with product. Starts with, who are you? So if I had to think about, and sometimes it's hard when you have to do a inner search, so to speak. You have to, because you know how you go on a job interview, and the first question they say to you, tell me a little bit about yourself. You start going, oh, what I want to say, how far do I want to go? But you have to have a good position, so to speak, about who you are and what you want to do and what you want to become. So if I would describe in terms of who I am as a brand, I'm a professional. One of my attributes about time management, I'm very analytical. What else do I say about who I am? In terms of love football, husband doesn't like football, believe it or not, but I'm a huge football fan, so I love football. I am not a shopper. I realize I am a buyer. Somebody had to explain it to me. I don't like shopping, but I'm a buyer. So I know what I want and I will go get it. So you kind of have to have some definition about who you are in order to separate yourself from others. So if you had to think about what's your product, just think about you working where you are right now, your product in terms of who you are, what do you bring to your job? You got a list this long, Elaine, just roll it out. just roll it out.
Yeah, humor is one of them.
Okay, that's a good one, humor. Okay.
Humor, being the oldest one in the building.
Okay. Well, think about your other roles and responsibilities, your product. That's a product. Roles and responsibilities.
My organization.
Okay. What else?
My promptness.
Excellent.
Good at analytical skills.
Analytical. Okay. And how about some of those skills when you were in the Navy?
Oh, they all apply.
All
All of them, the same ones. I'll go back and forth.
Yeah, so in essence, committed to the team, so committed to your job, so to speak, hardworking, able to thrive in any environment. Now, is that true in essence in terms of military? You have to be able to thrive in any environment? Okay, it's the same thing happening because we live in a world now where things are constantly changing. If you don't like it, wait a minute, it'll change. The whole world, the new world in corporation now is disruptiveness. Everything is being disrupted. Everything is being turned over in its head. If you don't like the way things are working today, come into work tomorrow. We have something different for you to do it, a different way to do it. So things are constantly changing. So your brand starts with who you are. Even starts in terms of when we're born. Your parents give you a name, and you kind of grow into that. You develop to that, and you start that product pretty much from day one. But as we go through life, things might start to our product, so to speak, might start to image our product, so to speak. We have to be careful of that. So it starts with, who are you? Think about that. What is it you're trying to sell? Because you're selling yourself, so to speak. Other things, your product should be based on your value proposition. Your personality, what makes you, you? What's going to separate you from everybody else? What makes you? So I heard humor. Maybe everyone in the office is not humorous, so to speak. Your appearance, how you look. So talk to me a little bit about, from a military perspective and where you work now. Was appearance just as important in either area?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You can't wear a sloppy uniform. Be spoken to right on the spot.
So let's translate that into the world of work. How are the people dressed in your area?
I'm the only civilian.
Oh, well, there's a good example. But even that, the whole world of work has changed in terms of appearance. This casual, and help me out here, Marianne, there's casual Fridays now, and there's more. It seems like it's casual Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But yeah.
Cultures have their own baby.
Yeah. So that,
Fashion.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it varies.
It varies.
Across sectors and across
Yeah.
generational age groups.
Age group. Thank you for that feedback. But what I want to say is also keep in mind in terms of you're building a brand. So you don't necessarily want to go with the flow, so to speak. So even though they might have casual Friday and you're trying to go in a particular area, particular job, you might want to be careful in terms of that. I'm just talking broadly, not necessarily you. So not necessarily, because they say you can wear flip-flops to work every day, doesn't mean you want to wear flip-flops to work every day if you're trying to go somewhere. If that's not part of your brand in terms of who you are. And I worked at it was a retail firm, and we had casual Fridays. And on casual Fridays, they wore jeans. I never did that because that was not my image. That was not the image I wanted to project. But I would get the pushback, Brenda, you don't have your jeans on today. It's casual Friday. I'm okay, because I knew where I wanted to go. I was moving to an executive position, so that's the image I wanted them to see. I was building that from day one. So we have to think about how do you start to build that product image from day one and keep that image going. Also in terms of your aptitude, your knowledge, skills, and ability. So I heard you say organize, and it's time management, it's analytical. That makes you in terms of who you are as part of your product. In terms of authenticity, how real are you to yourself? I think people struggle with this sometimes. And I say that because, as you said, there's cultures at work. Can you really come to your work as your authentic self? And there's the whole diversity thing that's going on. You got to be aware of that. And there's also company cultures you got to be aware of in terms of the non-spoken internal things that are going on. So how authentic can you really be to yourself? And let me ask this question in terms of the military. Can you be authentic to yourself, or do you have to be committed to the way the military has you do things?
Yeah, you can always be authentic to yourself.
So give me an example, being authentic to yourself. That's fine. Take your time. Think. Being authentic. Can you share an example of yourself where you were authentic to yourself in terms of a particular situation? And
Yeah, just because other people are unhappy or having a bad day doesn't mean that I have to have a bad day too. So,
yeah.
you know, I try to cheer them up, or I stay happy. I don't follow their lead, so to speak, or I just do.
You be you because you're normally happy, encouraging, engaging person. Absolutely. Good example. I like that. Yeah, being authentic in terms of how real you are to yourself. We talk about that because we also live in a very competitive society. So people will do things to make and please other people. You got to be careful about ethics, all those other things that go in line to it. So being true to yourself in terms of being authentic. So your brand, we're talking a little bit about your product. The next one is what I really like talking about in terms of is price. You need to know your market worth so you can get what you are worth. And a lot of people struggle with this. They struggle with that. How do I know how much I'm worth? You look at a job description, so much the jobs pay, so to speak, but you know you're worth a lot more. How do you set yourself apart so that you get what you're worth? Talking about money is not always an easy process. How do you determine your worth? What do you think goes in that bucket in terms of how do you determine your worth in terms of your product? What would go in that bucket? Well, some of the things we already talked about earlier, education, right? Your work experience, what you brought from the military, all those things would go in that bucket would help to determine your price. You said you was looking for a house, your house shopping. So you think about all some of the things that already got, location is going to be one thing for you. It's going to help determine the price. So it's almost kind of on the same model. So to kind of help narrow that down, just 2 points of that is features and benefits. So we can step back in terms of shopping for your house, features and benefits. You said you know where you don't want to live. I think I heard that. And you said you're looking for something very particular in terms of what this house is going to have, and that's going to determine the price that you're going to pay for the house. She already knows this class. I'm telling you, she's already got everything down pat, which is great. So, but let's talk a little bit more about features and benefits. What's the difference between the two? Well, features tell. So as we're looking at this example, these gentlemen are buying a gas grill. Features tell. So when we look at this picture up there, what are some of the things that's being told to us about that grill?
The price.
It tells us the price, description of it. We don't necessarily know what else the salesman is saying, but those are the features. It's probably this size, it cooks this amount, that's on the range. It tells us the price. We don't know about the warranty, but those are the features. Evidently, this particular person liked it because down here, benefits sell. He actually, whatever he told that person, he brought it home, and he's able, so features and benefits. So think about that the same thing in terms of your product. You as a person, you as a brand. What is it that you're offering to an employer? You talk about the features, but they're still going to say to you, so what is it that you have to offer me? Why should I hire you? Why should you work in this particular organization? And what are the benefits? And again, you're hearing lanes, I'm hearing is organization, analytical, it's humor. Those are the benefits that company is going to get when they bring you on board. Features and benefits. Other things we talk about features and benefits. So features are what you showcase. So if you go back to that example of the grill, they showcase the price to what we can physically see, right? Your strengths, your competencies, what is it that you do well? Those are your features. Benefits, what can you do for your community? What can you do for the organization? So here's a couple of examples. We're talking about, can you improve their bottom line? What do you think we mean by that? Can you improve their bottom line? Companies are in business to do what? Make money. Yeah, that's the bottom line. Companies are in business to make money. So we know if you come to work for an organization with your brand, how are you going to help me improve my bottom line? What are you going to do to help me, the second one, reduce costs, help me to reduce costs, or help me to bring in more profits? What is it that your brand can do for me that can either help me bring in more clients or help me increase sales? So this could be somewhat like of a guide, so to speak, when you think about your personal branding. Do I fit into those areas? What are some of those things I can do to help? What are some of those things that I can do to help? So features, what are you showcasing? What are they seeing already up front? What are they seeing up front? But benefit is what is it that you can do for your organizations? Do you have any questions, comments?
Not yet, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I'm soaking this all up.
So brand, price. So some of the other things, I have a list, I think it's on the next one. Some of your brand attributes. Your brand, what does your brand say about you? Your brand really should speak for you before you even show up. When you think about, I'm loving using your example of Colgate and Crest. People already have in their mind what their expectation is of their brand, right? Same thing with Coke or Pepsi. So your brand speaks for you before people even see you. So think about that. So if I didn't know you and they were telling me before you got, oh yeah, this lady's gonna come in and she's got great organizational skills, she's got the analytical skills, she's got a great sense of humor, your brand precedes you. So some of these attributes will be part of your brand. Someone who, like I said, organized, they're focused, they're an influencer, they're encouraging, which I heard you say, they're energetic, they're professional, they're articulate. These are attributes that will be part of someone's brand. So if someone says that they're focused and organized, you expect that to be part of their brand attribute. You should see that, right? So if I said to you, they said to you, well, we know Brenda, she's very focused, she's organized, and she's on time. And this workshop started at 6 and I got here at 7. What would they do to my brand? Yeah, not very well. I'm not walking in my brand, even though they've heard that just like Coke and Pepsi, they had different packaging. And they work so hard on their packaging. They want to be specific. Because we've already heard stories about, I think it was Whole Foods or somebody had something they had to do a recall on. So it was about their image. They're very concerned about that, about their packaging. So these are your attributes in terms of what does your brand say about you. Pretty much they should go ahead of you. They should walk the talk. So we talk a little about the product. Your product is who you are. How do you represent yourself? What are your features and benefits that help you determine your price? Place. So we already know this. So Elaine, where does Colgate and Crest market their products?
Oh, everywhere.
Everywhere. I know, that was a giveaway.
Everywhere.
They are everywhere. Yes, you can't get away. So same thing about us until we want to market our brand. Not that we want to be everywhere. We need to think about what channels are you using to reach your target market. So if I know I want to go work for a retail store, so to speak, or retail organization, I should be marketing my brand around in those particular areas. So, and then there's also the online. There's Facebook, there's the YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. But the most powerful channel to market your brand, you said this earlier. What do you think that is?
Networking.
See, tell you, she already has this class already. Yes, networking. And why is that the most powerful way to market your brand? Why do you think?
Well, you're talking person to person.
Yeah. Because even though this whole online presence, we'll talk about that, there's nothing about face-to-face connection. Because having that, you actually get to showcase, and people actually get to see that you're organized, you have a sense of humor, that you're an encourager, that you're focused, your time management. People do business with people they know. And people are willing to refer people that they know and they do business with. So yes, networking is the most powerful thing. So what does networking get you? It gets you, as you said, people. It gets you buy-in, and it gets you opportunities. People, buy-in, and opportunities. So live connections. Everything is not the digital age, that's why I call it live connections. You get that. You get interaction. I think that's not necessarily the same with the digital, even though that's there, the online, the social media. but you kind of miss the face-to-face, the emotions that come across when you're working with people. You get buy-in, showcase your brand, people see and hear. Other things we'll talk about, I volunteer on a lot of different organizations. So I'm on different boards. So being on boards and organizations, they get to see my brand and they get to speak for my business in terms of what I'm doing because I'm showcasing my brand to other people who see me and what I'm doing. So that's one place to do that. And you get opportunities. Increase awareness to market your brand. Increase awareness to market your brand. So people buying an opportunity. It's all about promoting. You have this dynamic brand called you, Elaine, okay, that you built. People should be standing in line to get to you, Elaine, because you are the answer to the market's needs. But nobody knows about you the way you want to know about you until you market yourself. And that's the whole thing about personal branding. And sometimes we have to be careful because it could be a fine line between arrogant and being obnoxious in terms of how do you market yourself in that brand. So you do not want to come across that way. But how do you come across that you're confident, that you're competent in terms of what you're doing, in terms of your brand. So how do you sell that? How do you sell that? So we talk about ways to market your brand. We talk about networking. Build your social media presence. So do you have a lot of different social media accounts? Do you?
Absolutely none.
Absolutely no. Okay, well, I don't have Facebook and I don't have Twitter, but I do have a web page. So I'll talk a little bit about social media presence. Even though you have the networking, you physically have to be with the networking. But what's nice about social media, it's nonstop, 24 hours, 7 marketing for you. Have a website, if that works for you. Create and hand out business cards. And as I said, you can volunteer in various organizations. So these are different ways to market and promote your brand. So we built our brand. You have this wonderful brand called you, Elaine, that they were just standing in line to get to. However, there could be some things that take away from your brand. We call them brand detractors. What would be some things that might take away from your brand? What do you think? But think about how you build your brand up. Remember we had the 4 areas of image, appearance, promise, and expectation. What might take away from your brand?
Competitors.
Competitors, yes. Even going back to...
Keep going, you're doing good.
But even when those... So let's even talk about in terms of image. Off days. Image, appearance, your communication styles, could be any number of things that could talk about those. So I have a few. Appearance, attitude, choice of words. I think one of the biggest ones now is your reputation, offline and online. And somehow there seems to be a disconnect. Well, if I do this online, no one's going to know. But what's done online is viral, is virtual. It does not go away. Does not go away. And that's something I'm working with the younger generation, so to speak, to think about what you put online stays online. Something as basic as your voicemail on your phone. So sometime when I was doing some hiring, and they would go and they would come through the interview and they would leave their voicemail, and this is a younger generation. Hi, this is Brenda, what's up, what's going on? Total disconnect from the interview that we just had. So they have to think about how do you connect those two together, your offline and your online. And it's a process. You have to constantly be building it. It doesn't go away. It's not like, so to speak, you kind of let your hair down, so to speak. If I say I'm always on time, I'm focused, I'm managed, then that's the person that I see, that's the person that I project. But that's become a really big area that people need to work on, offline and online, in terms of your reputation. And even if you're not online, so you say you don't have any social medias, you gotta be careful that other people put you online whether you want to be online or not.
Oh my God.
Yes, yeah, okay, so you gotta be careful about that. So these are some choice of words. Give you an example here. I'm a small business consultant, and I was meeting with a particular, a colleague. I guess I call him a colleague. We had met at a networking event, so we kind of got together, just kind of share ideas and what was going on in each other of our businesses. Somewhere through the conversation, he started using profanity. Just totally took me back. I mean, you come across as a professional. We had this really great dynamic conversation in this setting, but yet you think because we're in a separate setting by himself that you can use it. So it just totally tarnished his brand. Because he thought, well, no, your whole choice of words, your whole body language, your nonverbal communication, all that can also impact your brand. So pretty much you're always on. If your brand says, if IBM says they're this, they're always on. If Apple says they're that, they're always on, so to speak. But the reputation on and offline is becoming a real challenge. So I want to talk a little bit more about that. Online presence. So, Elaine, do you know how you are perceived online?
Nope, because I'm not online.
How do you know you're not online?
Because I choose not to.
But
I don't sign up for anything.
Mm-hmm. So do you have friends that take pictures of you? Do you have friends who are on Facebook?
No, not to put my pictures online.
Do you have friends who are on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know that they can tag other people that tags other people that tags other people? So you're out there. I feel the same way sometimes, but you're out there. In today's world, we're all living in a fishbowl. Every store, every location has cameras now. Every traffic light seems to have cameras now. So whether we like it or not, we're out there. We're being put out there, so to speak, into the online presence. So how do you manage that? As much as we don't want to be out there, how do you manage it? Well, do a periodic search of you. So just for the heck of it, type in your name. Don't be afraid. I did that. When I put mine, I was typing real slow, because you just don't know what's going to come up. But you'll never know. So Elaine, step into the waters, go back into the waters. Type in your name, do an online search of you, and see what comes up. I'm sure it's going to be all positive things, but you just never know. You just never know. So that'll be your challenge homework assignment. Do a periodic search of you. Also be careful about, I said, monitor postings and tags of your image. Even though you're not on Facebook, other people are, and they're tagging you to other people, and you do a search of yourself, those things will come up. Secure what you don't want public. So in other words, monitor that, make settings private. And I think I heard you say that you tell some of your friends and family, don't put your pictures out there. But if you're in a group setting, if you're in a public place, someone just decides to take a picture of you, you're in there. There's not much more you can do about it. And they Photoshop you and they circle it out, the whole 9 yards. I think that can be pretty scary. So yes, so do a periodic search of you. So I'm sure you'll probably find some pleasant things. Because the other question, what happens if you don't find something that's pleasant about you? I'm not sure if it's Google or someone like that, you can go onto the site and whatever, they can help you kind of correct things. But you never know. And the whole thing now was I have 2 teenage daughters. I'm trying to keep up. They keep changing. I think there's Snapchat and there's Periscope and they keep changing. There's always something new that's coming up. So again, the whole idea, because of trying to work with this generation, understand what you say online stays online. And recruiters and HR people do online searches. So if you say, my image is this, and they do an online search, you got the potty pictures up there, you don't want them to see that, there's a whole disconnect. And it's a gray area. Because I understand what they're saying, my private life should be my private life. If I'm out having a drink, not that I'm drinking, if I'm having a drink with my friends on the weekend, so to speak, that should be my private life. But if you post a picture like that, so to speak, you might need to have 2 separate areas. And more companies are asking for people's passwords and IDs and those type of things. So back to what I said earlier, we live in a fishbowl. You're not necessarily getting away from things. So don't panic, Elaine. She's like, oh, do I really want to do this? Yes. You want to manage your online presence. You just never know what's out there. And just share it with yourself. I'm not going to have you call me and turn in and say, what did you find out? So we're talking about these are brand detractors, and online social media is huge right now. People put things out on Twitter. They put things out they didn't mean to say, but you can't get it back. It stays out there. And they'll dig that back up from now on forever and ever and ever. And it's a balance in that. It's a balance in that. When I think about a lot of the politicians, not what's going on right now, and when they start to dig up information on the politicians, it's almost like you had to know since you were a child that you were going to run for office. Because who didn't do things in college or do things when they were teenagers, so to speak? How do you start to plan at such an early age? But it's pretty much, are you walking the talk in terms of who you say you are? And what did you say you want to convey about your brand? And so with that, moving on, let's talk a little bit about some of the benefits. So what do you think are some of the benefits of having a personal brand? What would benefit you, Elaine, by having a personal brand?
Oh, you might get a better job.
Okay, get a better job.
For the peanut gallery.
Yeah, you're
Get
gonna
a raise.
you're gonna get a better job. You're gonna get a raise. So it's constantly you always have. So remember, this is the core part of who you are is your brand. So use myself example. I say I'm time management, I'm organizing, and that's my core in terms of who I am as my brand. So I really shouldn't step outside of that too much because that's what people are going to look for in terms of in my brand. So we got to make sure that we walk the talk in terms of what we say we're going to do and how we're going to accomplish that. So some of the things I have, it distinguishes you from your peers. Go back to that very great example you gave earlier, Colgate and Crest. What this do? Some to the white box, some to the red box, something as basic as your pet. But so you think about, let's go back to the grocery store example. There's toothpaste on every single shelf, so to speak. I'm like, I just want toothpaste. But they're in different colors, different sizes, different shapes, even your toothbrushes. I just want a basic toothbrush. But they come square and round and bristle and non-bristle and whatnot. They're trying to distinguish themselves. They want shelf space, so to speak. Same thing with personal branding. It expands your opportunities. What is this person doing differently? Why did I want to bring them on board? Why do I want them part of my team? It increases your confidence. It also helps to cultivate relationships. People don't want to be around people who are the same boring people all the time. What makes them different? What makes them engaging? What makes them, so when I go to networking events, what is usually one of the first questions someone asks at a networking event? What kind of questions have you heard been asked at a networking event? Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your business. Tell me about yourself. So I try to do something a little bit different. I go to a networking event. I ask them, so tell me about that last client that you had. How did that work for you? Could you give me an example of a challenging client that you have worked with? So you want to do something that's memorable in terms of the way that you ask questions, going to help you distinguish and stand out at a networking event. And it increases your confidence because nobody can do you like you, if I can put it that way. Increases your confidence. There's only one Elaine, and no one can do your work the way that you do your work. So those are the benefits of having a personal brand. So we're talking about the tactics. So let's just kind of do a recap of the tactics. So product, we talked about the product is about you. So what is the product? What do you want people to think about you when they hear your name or read about you? That's pretty much in a nutshell. What do you want people to think about you or say about you when they hear your name and when they read your name? That's your product. What have you done to keep that? Price, what is your market worth? What features and benefits will your product convey? Will you be able to help a company grow? Will you help a company be more organized? Will you help an organization be more effective? Those are the things that they're looking for. Channels, what channels are you using to reach your markets? We talked about networking, we talked about social media. What are some different ways that you want to get your brand out there and keep your brand out there? And lastly was promotion. What mediums are you using to promote your brand? So again, there's the whole social media, which seems to be the most biggest one that's going on right now. More and more people are using the social media. But again, caution you in terms of what kind of things are going on social media. Monitor your online presence. Secure your online presence. If you have a Facebook account or Twitter account, so to speak, make sure you use those private settings. So only goes out there what you want to go out there. So the challenge for you, Elaine, and for all those that are out there, you need to market. Sell yourself, because it's all about you. It's all about the business of you. So, if I could ask Elaine, if you could please share a couple of things that you took away from the workshop. You gave us a lot of feedback, which is great, but if there's one or two things that you took away from the workshop that you knew about or you validated or just kind of confirmed for you. You talk about personal branding.
Oh, the social media.
How so?
I don't know. I just can't get my mind around that is the in thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I like the networking part because you're face to face.
Right.
Rather than somebody reading this whole thing about you.
Okay.
You know, in a resume, even though resumes are the in thing too, but.
Yeah, it's very rarely can you go into any organization now and fill out a resume. They want you to do everything online. Everything is all online applications. And I find that's a challenge because if I'm doing an online application, they don't get to see my brand. And the S, they don't get to see the face to face, but I have to portray that in the wording in my resume. And then when they see me in person, those two should match together in terms of what's going on with that. But yeah, it's about the business of you. And personal branding is not going away. It's here to stay because more and more companies are looking at what makes you unique. I was reading an article on Google, I don't think about a month ago, in terms of the type of people they're looking for. They're looking for people who are innovative. They're looking for people who are creative, looking for people that what set them for the pie, because they're a type of company that's constantly evolving. So they're not looking for someone who's just going to come and sit and pass the time away, so to speak. And more companies and corporations are doing that. So even though they're looking for team members, how do you as a team do things differently? So you constantly, sometimes always have to reinvent yourself, but your core needs to still stay the same. So it's all about the business of you.
I mean, Elaine, are you, in your retirement, are you looking to get another job? Or are you looking to get more involved in your community? Or, because I think there's an element to personal branding, you know, in terms of having already had a career. You know, you're not a 22-year-old job seeker, so, you know, but I think there's an element to personal branding that, you know, even if you're looking to become, maybe you're not looking for the next job, if you're going to stay in retirement, but maybe you want to be more, you know, you want to be a volunteer in your community, and branding can give you those leadership roles, or, you know, that kind of thing. So I think it applies outside the workplace as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, like, if you're a reliable person, people are going to go to you for responsibilities, even if it's not in a workplace.
Yeah. Thank you for
And
that.
that's empowering.
Yeah, I like that, yeah. And the main, like I said, branding is not going to go away. And I think you had answered this question earlier. Do you think you have a brand? Everybody has a brand. Whether you did it formally or informally, you have a brand. Just now they have coined that term, so to speak, about having a personal brand. I think it's been around about maybe over 20-something years, 1997, I think I first heard about it. And Fast Magazine, and someone had this cover that says, it was on a Tide box that says, "You are the brand." And it's really just taken off from there. Are there any other questions I can answer for you?
No, you did a wonderful job.
Well, you did too. Thank you so much for your time and your participation. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
Wonderful.